What is happening, guys? It's Spruce Goose here, and welcome to my free ebook for the gun trips tight end offset formation out of the Houston Texans playbook. Now, if you don't want to go with the Texans playbook, do not worry. There are 8 other playbooks in Madden that all have the gun trips tight end offset formation, and you can run this offense decently well out of all of them. I just prefer to run it out of the Texans playbook. Now, just like in most of my videos, I've got timestamps marking each play I go over, so feel free to jump around or go straight to the particular play you're most interested in, but keep in mind that these plays are working together to build a complete offense, so I highly encourage you guys to have some familiarity with almost every play in the formation. Now, if you end up finding this ebook useful, and especially if this ebook ends up helping you win any games of Madden, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It's completely free, just like this ebook, and it's the best way to let me know that you're enjoying the content and want to see more like it in the future. But alright, that's enough intro. Gun trips tight end offset ebook, let's get into it. Alright guys, so the format for this ebook is that I'm going to go play by play and tell you how and when I use each one, any adjustments I make, and if there's a one-play touchdown out of that play, I'll go over that as well. I'm not going to group the plays by cover 3 beaters or cover 4 beaters or anything like that, but all the information will be contained in each play when I talk about that play. Now, if you want a cheat sheet for cover 3 beaters, cover 4 beaters, man beaters, etc., I have a cheat sheet available to everyone who subscribed to me over at twitch.tv/SpruceGooseTV. You can find that in my Discord in the sub-tips section. Links will be in the description below, but you don't need the cheat sheet, okay? Everything is here in the video. All the information 100% is right here, but if you want the information kind of, pared down and able to read easily at a glance, then definitely think about subscribing over at twitch.tv/SpruceGooseTV and check that out in the sub-tips section in the Discord. Alright guys, so the first play we're going to look at is the play that I call more than anything else, and if you've been watching any of my gameplay videos on YouTube or you've watched me over on Twitch, you have seen me call RPO Alert Bubble over and over and over again. And if you look on the right side, I've called it over 2,000 times, and I'm averaging 6.9 yards per play when I call it. It is so good. I absolutely love it, and so let's take a closer look at it right now. I'm putting the defense on random play because it doesn't really matter for showing you this play. So if you look at the play art, we've got an 0-1 trap combined with a bubble screen on the left side. Now, 0-1 trap is one of the best run plays in Madden 21. So right off the bat, just having the 0-1 trap, this is already a solid play. And with an 0-1 trap, you've basically got a pulling guard coming from the left side in this case. But just that pulling guard and the way that it's a little bit of a delayed handoff, it makes it really tough to shoot this gap. A lot of people don't know how to shoot the gap. And if you look right there, you just get this gaping hole up the middle more often than not, and that's an easy, what was that, a 10-yard gain right there? Let's look at the replay real quick. So if you look, the left guard is just pulling, and he's just going to kind of block that right defensive tackle, and then the center just goes straight down the field, blocks the linebacker, and you're just off to the races. Now, obviously, some players know how to shoot it, and that's why we're going to have other run plays to look at as well. But for the most part, this 0-1 trap does really, really well, just ran as a regular run play. Now, if your opponent has a defensive lineman with the inside stuff ability, so I believe Chris Jones has it. If you're playing against the Packers and Regs, then Kenny Clark definitely has it. Or if you're playing in Mutt, then definitely check your opponent's abilities before you snap the ball, and definitely check if they have an inside stuff. If you double team the inside stuff, it will cancel out the inside stuff. So definitely double team. I honestly double team almost every time, even though depending on the alignment of the defensive line, sometimes you can double team, sometimes you can't. And it has to do with because of that pulling guard. So there's a good example right there where I actually double teamed Chris Jones, but because of the alignment, if you watch right here, this is Chris Jones right here. I double teamed him, but really what happened is just the pulling guard went and picked him up. So even though you double team someone with this 0-1 trap play, they won't always actually get double teamed. That's just the nature of the blocking, but you should still always double team anyone with inside stuff, because as far as I can tell, that will still cancel out the inside stuff ability. So I don't need to show you guys a ton how to run an 0-1 trap. That's simple enough. Just find the open hole. And I will say what's great about this play is that because you get the ball squared up to the middle of the field, you can take it any direction. Sometimes you'll bounce it left, sometimes you'll go up the middle, sometimes you'll bounce it to the right. So definitely you'll lay off the sprint button until you see what running lane you want to take, and then just hit it, and you're going to get pretty good gains a lot of the time. So that's the 0-1 trap. I'm not going to show you guys too much how to run the ball. let's turn our attention now to the bubble screen. The bubble screen is what makes this play so much better than just a regular 0-1 trap, because if you run 0-1 trap enough times, they'll either figure out how to shoot it, or they'll just start stacking the box and you're not going to go very far. But having the bubble screen on the outside just adds a whole new layer to this play that a lot of people aren't used to dealing with. So I'm going to bring my defensive user down to the middle so I'm not impacting anything on the left side. Now, right here, what we want to do is we want to read the inside defender, the one who's lined up right over B, because if that defender stays in man coverage with B, or if he drops into like a very short flat off the snap, you don't want to throw the bubble screen. That's the one thing you gotta be careful of, guys, is this is a very, very risky pass. If you decide pre-snap you're gonna throw the bubble screen, at some point you will throw an interception on it, and it's very easy for your opponent then to take it all the way back for a touchdown. But now I'm gonna just go ahead and throw it regardless, but let's see what happens. And fortunately, right there, we get a pretty good example. If you watch on the snap, the defender who's lined up over our inside receiver, he did not stay with him and he did not drop into the flat. So we're reading this defender right here. He did not go with him. So he comes back. That basically tells us it's almost definitely safe to throw. Now, there are situations maybe where your opponent might put this defender in like a 0-yard flat. So definitely look out for that one as well. But that's a lot more rare. Again, it's possible, but I don't see it very often. Most of the time, if a defender is going to be in the passing lane, it's this defender, and it really needs to be your opponent putting them in a blue flat and at a 0-yard drop depth and then pass committing. And then what happens is they shoot right down here, right at the receiver at the snap, and when you throw it, they're just standing in the passing lane, right in between the quarterback and the receiver, and you feel like an idiot. The other thing is that watch out for the user, because once you throw this one time, a user might start here or even like over here. Sorry, like over here. Nope, it's locking on like crazy. Like over here, and at the snap, they might sprint this way. And if you're reading this defender right here, maybe this defender drops back, you go, oh, the bubble screen's wide open. But you're not looking at the user right here who's just sprinting. Wow, it's locking on like crazy, jeez. But the user, let's see if I can do this. The user is sprinting right in between here, close enough, and then gets in the passing lane and picks it off. So you have to be mindful of that inside defender and of the user as well. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to be reading. Now, in this case, we got two people. So both that linebacker who's lined up at the line of scrimmage and then the cornerback who looks like he's probably in man coverage on my B receiver. Both those guys could go with the B receiver. Now, because he's a little bit off the line, even if it's man coverage, I could probably throw this anyway. So right there, it's man coverage. But again, fortunately, he was far enough back, I could throw it anyway. But let's start pressing the defense, because lots of people are pressing, you know, in Madden this year. So let's go ahead and press, and let's read that inside defender again. So right there, he went with him, and so I am not going to throw that. I'm just going to hand it off. Could I have thrown it and probably at least not thrown a pick? Probably. But it's a little risky. You know, right here, it looks like even if I do throw it, it'll probably get blown up. In the event that you end up throwing this anyway and it's man coverage, you want to catch it and you want to try and swing it outside. And sometimes it's just an angle that the defender kind of struggles to make the tackle on. But most of the time, if you see man coverage right here, I would not recommend throwing that. You definitely are going to have better results throwing this against zone coverage. So right here, this is almost definitely zone coverage because you can see that we have a numbers advantage on the left-hand side. Now, you can see that the defender who's kind of over Y, he's actually a little inside of Y, so we have to be reading him this time and make sure he doesn't drop down right into the passing lane. As long as he doesn't do that, then we can throw this safely. So let's go ahead and look at it. A little risky right there. Very risky right there. You know, I'm throwing it for the sake of showing you the example. That is honestly one right there where it should have been picked off. Pretty good example actually of showing you guys how dangerous this can be. So right here, and honestly, he didn't even drop down, but he was close enough that if you look, whoo, that could have been a pick, guys. It goes to show you gotta be careful. And I still mess it up sometimes. I still throw picks on these things occasionally. And so you don't want to overuse it. You really want to throw it when you're pretty sure it's wide open. So let's run through it a couple more times. Now right there, I'm trying to be a little smarter. We saw the man coverage. We're not going to throw it. If you want a simple rule of thumb, you can usually throw it against zone. Don't throw it against man. you can give it a shot against man, and sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. This one right here looks like it's probably going to work out pretty well, but our guy didn't block for us. So that's the other thing you got to deal with, is the blocking from the receivers can be a little bit inconsistent. That's just Madden. You know, sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't work so well. Right there, we saw man coverage, so we handed off. And if you guys look, you know, that's an example. Let's go out of bounds. That's an example of where we didn't go up the middle. We actually bounced it to the left, just because that's where the hole was. So that, again, the 0-1 trap, it's going to give you looks left, middle, and right. I want to get some good examples though of this bubble screen. And the one thing I will say, we haven't gotten a good example yet, but when you catch the bubble screen, the way I like to run with my receiver after the catch, this might be a good example right here. This might be a good example right here, a little bit. After the catch, I like to run straight at the numbers of the outside receiver blocking for me. And the reason I do that is, so right here, if you bounce this like really inside or really outside, what'll often happen is that this defender who's, you know, being blocked by this receiver, he'll win to the inside or to the outside, and then you'll end up running right into him. And so what I like to do is, for as long as possible, I like to run straight at the numbers of my receiver, and that way I can wait as long as possible to see if that defender is going to maybe win to the inside or outside, and I can go the opposite way. Because I've had times where I just am like, oh, I'm taking this around the outside, and then this defender wins to the outside, and then he's tackling me for, I mean, a 5-yard gain, which isn't too bad. But if I just ran straight at the numbers a little longer of that of my receiver, and I saw that he would win to the outside, I can take it to the inside, and, you know, maybe I outrun the rest of these guys, and I'm going for a huge gain. So that's just a little trick, is assuming you guys are holding their blocks, run straight at the numbers of your receiver who's blocking on the outside, and then, you know, bounce it inside or outside as necessary. 2 other tricks, okay? This is very situational, but let's say you throw the bubble screen, and it turns out there's a defender dropping down, not close enough to pick it off, but close enough that they're going to make the tackle for no gain. So I'm just going to throw this regardless of the coverage. What you can do, and so it's not a good example against man, but what you can do, guys, is I basically air trucked the moment I caught it, and situationally, it can be very glitchy. Now, again, we're getting man coverage every time, so in these cases, you can see there is room to the outside. So it's not something to do, it's not something to decide in advance, but if you were to see a defender, again, it's not a good example, but let's say there's a defender, this defender maybe dropping down to like right here or something, and the moment you catch the ball, you're going to get tackled by them. What happens is this air truck, look at this air truck, it changes your direction entirely from going to the outside to straight upfield, and it can get really glitchy. And I've used this before and turned plays that were going to go for negative yards into huge gains because of how glitchy this is. You have to truck immediately when you catch the ball, but it's really glitchy, very situationally. Again, I'm forcing it right here just for the sake of the example. And, you know, again, we didn't need to right there, but be on the lookout for that. If you throw the bubble screen and you go, oh my gosh, there's a defender just chilling out there on the outside, I need to get inside really fast, do that truck. I'll do it one more time just to see if we get a good example, and we're not really getting it. You know, these are all situations where we just catch it normally. But be mindful that that little air truck can be a huge difference maker. Now, one more thing to show you guys on this play. I don't know how practical it is, but it is interesting if nothing else, and that is if we take either our X receiver or our Y receiver and we motion them over, that block turns into a hitch. And so if you wanted to, you could use that hitch as another option before you hand the ball off. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw it. I don't know what's going to happen, but right there, it almost got picked off. So maybe not the best when you motion it all the way over, but maybe if you were to like hike it before he got to the far sideline and hiked it in there, maybe look at that. Look at that. That worked pretty well. I'm kind of, you know, learning this as we go because I don't ever actually use this. But one thing I do know, and this is really tricky now, guys, is you can also smart route that hitch. So it can just add a whole other layer to this play. Now I'm going to go ahead and try. Yeah, we got that right there. that could be pretty cool, guys. I might have to start putting that into my own offense. Very situationally, of course. But that is the RPO Trap Alert Bubble. It's a really great play. As you guys saw, I've run it over 2,000 times and average almost 7 yards a carry. I primarily try to just keep running it, run it on the 0-1 trap up the middle. And then when they start bringing more people into the box, start hitting with the bubble screen. And then if they start taking away both, usually some of the pass plays will open up a little more. But we're going to look at more run plays first, and then we'll get into the pass plays next. So that's the 0-1 trap. The next play we're going to look at is very similar. It's almost the sister of this Trap Alert Bubble play, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but that play is actually going to be, oh, that's Gun Bunch. That play is going to be the RPO Alert Bubble, and we'll do random play again on defense, and this is basically just the exact same play, but with an inside zone. And so the reason I'm showing you this is that if you start running the 0-1 trap over and over and over again, and people start to learn how to shoot it, you need to start mixing in the RPO Alert Bubble, not the Trap Alert Bubble, just the regular Alert Bubble, and running this inside zone. It's not as good of a run. I feel like the blocks don't hold quite as well, but especially on the 0-1 trap where the user is going to be really focused on, you know, coming up the middle, this run gets you to the outside a little bit better. We're not getting some good runs right here, but I have had this play really save my butt before after the user started just coming up the middle. They would loop around the opposite side of where this run is going and take themselves completely out of the play. Now, if we go back and look at my average yards per play on this one, it's not as good. It's not as good. I would not recommend this for an every down play. I would only mix it in there in the event that the 0-1 trap is starting to get shot. And you guys can see we have not had very good luck against random defense so far. I would say overall it's not a great run play, but again, very situationally, if you throw this in there after they start figuring out the 0-1 trap, you can bust off some big gains with it, especially because they're going to be so focused on the middle that this run, which is a little more to the outside, it can get you some yards. So I just want to throw that in there real quick. There's not a whole lot to it. I'm not going to go over the bubble screen again. The bubble screen is exactly the same as on the 0-1 trap play. But just remember you have this in there as well if the 0-1 trap starts getting blown up. So that was our second run play. Let's go ahead and look at our third run play, which is going to be the halfback counter. And if you run this gun trips tight end offset formation in a playbook like the Seahawks, and I believe the Jets, and maybe Packers as well, you're going to have a play called RPO Buck Alert Sweep or something like that. And it's going to have the same bubble screen that we've been looking at before, but it's going to be a counter as well with 2 pulling linemen. Now, some people really like that play, and I know there's YouTube videos talking about how great that play is. Personally, when I ran that play, I had very mixed results with it. It seemed really easy for an opponent to just shoot straight up the middle and blow you up in the backfield because you're taking 2 offensive linemen and pulling them around to the outside. And so there's not a lot of blockers in the middle to prevent that user from coming in. Also, when I throw the bubble screen on that play, sometimes my quarterback's arm would hit my running back and the ball would just fall into the dirt for an incompletion. So I was like, I'm not a big fan of that play. But in the Texans playbook, we do have the halfback counter, which I think is just as good. Let's call random play on defense. Now, I will say most of the time you want to run this play probably against man coverage, because against man coverage, the defense will be stacked to the left side, which means you'll have a numbers advantage on the right side. So this is not a case where I would actually run this play, but let's go ahead and run it anyway. And I'm going to want to double team the defensive tackle. What is my stuff going to work? Wow, the pass protection thing is glitching out a little bit. You see that the pass protection menu was like blank. Now it's back. So I'm going to double team the defensive tackle on the right side and ID the mic, which, by the way, we're pulling up that menu, guys, with LB or L1 is how you pull up that pass blocking menu. So then we're just going to go ahead and run the ball and try to follow our blocks. Didn't work very well there. The run is a little bit hit or miss. Like I said, it's very situational. These are not at all plays. Like, we have a numbers disadvantage on the right side. We're going to run straight into it anyway. Now, somehow we actually got through there for an okay game. But you guys saw that's not a play where I'd actually be running this. But I'm trying to just show you guys all the plays that we have at our disposal. And again, just try to follow the lead block. Sometimes I try to bounce it straight to the outside. We're not getting great examples, but I want you guys to trust me that it can work decently well. So I flipped the blocking assignments there, but that's okay. Now right there's a little bit better example of, I actually bounced it to the outside. We almost got tackled, but fortunately we had a blocker there. So let's try to get one more good example. Again, I'm going to double team the D tackle, ID the mic on the defensive end, and we'll try to pull around the outside. Now right there, I think I had a wide open running lane if I didn't try to bounce it outside. And so, guys, never try to predetermine where you're going with your runs in advance. Always look for the open running lanes. Now right there, you guys saw it worked really well. And so it can work. It's situational. I would throw it in there. Again, just like with the inside zone alert bubble, this is a situation where you throw it in there if your opponent is starting to stop the other stuff. Now right here, this is actually a perfect example. So this is man coverage, or it's at the very least, it's man alignment. So the RPO bubble is probably not going to be open, because if I had to bet, that inside defender is probably going to be going with my inside receiver on the bubble. And so it looks like we have a numbers advantage on the right side. So this is an example where I actually would run halfback counter. I'm trying to ID the mic on the defensive end. And so right here, no, right there, no blocks held at all. If they don't hold their blocks, nothing's going to work anyway, right? But that's okay. But that's the halfback counter, guys. Again, very situational. Not my favorite run, but if they're really stacking the left side, or if they're really stacking the middle because of the 0-1 trap alert bubble, then go ahead and throw this in there, and you can bust off some really big gains to the outside. But let's go ahead and look at the next running play, which is going to be the read option. And read option, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about read option. You guys are probably familiar with read options. It's nothing special. It's nothing special. It's just a regular read option. But just like with a couple of the other plays, this is something to throw in there if you want a sort of inside zone, but you don't want the inside zone alert bubble. You just want regular inside zone to just mix up the lane that your defender or your opponent would have to try and shoot to try and stop you in the backfield. Just throw in a read option. Now, guys, as the running back is coming by, I am holding down A or X to hand it off to him. If you don't hold down A or X as your running back comes by, the quarterback will keep it. And I'll show you guys what happens if you keep it. It's a run with your quarterback. And most good players in their coaching adjustments, they go and set option defense to conservative. That means there's almost always going to be a defender waiting here for your running back if he doesn't hand the ball off. But the benefit of them being on option defense conservative is that defender on the outside, who you're leaving unblocked, is not going to go after the running back, and it basically gives you a numbers advantage for the rest of the play. So we'll look at the replay right here, and the defender on the outside, I believe it's this defender right here, he is playing conservative option defense. So you can leave him unblocked, and he's not going to go after the ball carrier. He is guarding the quarterback. And basically that allows everyone else to just always, block down to the left and just not even worry about him. And so I actually like throwing in the read option more than I like throwing in the RPO inside zone alert bubble play, because I feel like I get better runs on this play. If you guys have, been watching, it looks like we got decent runs most of the times we ran this play. And so I would say I go to this more if I need to sort of change up from the 0-1 trap. I'll just go to the read option. You introduce a little bit of risk, because if you're not thinking too hard, if you have a brain fart and you forget to hold down A to hand it off, your quarterback will keep it, and you might lose a lot of yards if it's not a fast quarterback. So that's the one thing to keep in mind, is you have to practice that handoff, because if you forget to do the handoff, or if you mistime the handoff, that quarterback keeper is not very good. Unless your opponent is not playing option defense conservative, then your quarterback might actually get a really big run on it. But most good players are running conservative option defense, which means they will be guarding the quarterback on those read options. So that's the read option, and that is most of the run plays. There's one more run play that we have to look at, which is actually my favorite run play. And real quick, I will say there's one other play we're not looking at, and that's the RPO Alert wide receiver screen. It's just a bad play, honestly. The run is exactly the same as on the bubble screen, this one right here. So the run is already just okay at best, and the screen is terrible. The screen is absolutely terrible. I never run it because the wide receiver screen just doesn't work. If it does work, you're probably getting tackled for no gain, and it's very high risk of getting picked off. So I would never, ever run this RPO Alert wide receiver screen. There are play designs like that actually work really well, but this one just doesn't work at all, so I would not recommend that. The final play we're looking at, though, guys, is the speed option, and this play is unique to the Texans playbook. The only other playbook where you will find something like this is over in the run and gun playbook in Gun Trip's tight end. They also have a speed option over there, but most people don't want to run the run and gun playbook, and so if you want the speed option, you have to be in the Texans playbook. Now, huge disclaimer, this play carries with it lots of risk, okay? A ton of risk, but it's also a ton of fun if you're willing to accept that risk, and it's also been very clutch for me in certain situations, okay? If you guys have watched some of my gameplay YouTube videos from probably a month or 2 months ago, I have won multiple games running speed option down near the goal line. And so that's probably the first thing I want to say is, for some reason, this play works a lot better in the red zone. It does not work very well out in the middle of the field. Like, out in the middle of the field, in practice mode, it'll work just fine. But in a game, the running back sometimes will just not catch the ball in the middle of the field, which is why we're going to go down to the red zone for demonstrating this play, because I want you guys to remember, don't run this play in the middle of the field. Can it work? Yes, and it's worked for me in the middle of the field as well. But for some reason, sometimes the running back will just drop the ball, and it's not worth that risk. It's not worth possibly fumbling the ball or taking a huge loss because the running back just dummied out in the middle of the field. But I've never had the running back not catch the pitch in the red zone. The red zone, it works so well for me. So the way we're going to run this, and this is, again, not a play where we would want to run this speed option. If you look to the left side, we have a clear numbers advantage for the bubble screen. That's what I would probably be running right here, but that's okay. Let's run the speed option anyway. Now, if you look at the play art for the speed option, it's just your quarterback and your running back going to the right. Now, most people are going to run it like this, where the quarterback just sprints, and then you eventually pitch it, and that's okay, I guess. That's one way to run it. By the way, guys, LB or L1 to pitch. The way I do it, though, I actually made a TikTok on this a little while ago. After the quarterback gets it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back on the left stick and bring my quarterback almost completely to a stop. And that's going to pull our defenders in at the quarterback. And then we kind of get this glitchy pitch. So pull them back and then pitch it out. And you guys see, like, the pitch shouldn't work that well. The pitch should not come out of Brady's hand that hard, but it does. And so that's the way I always try to run this, is I just pull back on the left stick. Sometimes you come to a full standstill. And look at number 32 right there. Look at number 32. He's actually guarding the running back at first. But then the moment you come to a stop, he comes in, and you just whip it out there. You just walk into the end zone. And in my opinion, this is by far the best play, or the best way to run this play. Is it risky? Absolutely. Honestly, I try to only run this against man coverage, because against zones, sometimes the zone will just sit out there and get in the pitch lane. Right there, we actually didn't even come to a stop very well, but it worked anyway. Let's try to come to a stop again. And that's another perfect example right there of how coming to the stop, it really does kind of glitch out a defender playing on conservative option defense. So again, let's watch number 32. Watch right here. You see the speed option. He's sitting on the pitch. If you just run this normally, if you just keep running forward, 32 is sitting on the pitch. It's pulling back on the stick, coming to a stop, that actually glitches out the defender and makes him come in at it. And that's how you get the pitch out there so easily. And so I don't want to ever say you guys like should be running this. This is absolutely run at your own risk. And especially in weekend league against better opponents, guys, I have had people multiple times, they actually will click on to the closest defender and then intercept the pitch and take it the other way for a touchdown. And you just feel like the biggest idiot ever. You're like, why am I running speed option when I could just be running, like, you know, fullback dive or something? But it's also a lot of fun. It's a ton of fun to run. And so if you're more interested in having fun, then I highly recommend speed option. You just have to be aware of the risks that come along with it. And even if in practice mode, I can run this 30 times in a row and have it work for me, the one time it doesn't work and it results in a turnover, you're going to start second guessing, do I really want to be running a speed option? One rule of thumb I'd have is try to only run it once a game, because once you run it more than once a game, that's when you're going to start having opponents, you know, swinging defenders out there a lot faster, maybe clicking on to intercept the pitch. The first time you run it usually works really well, especially against man coverage. I would say it more often than not. Now right there, I didn't even actually pull back on stick and it worked anyway. More often than not, the first time you run it, it's going to work really well. After that, when people get the chance to adapt, it gets a lot uglier. Now right there, you look, that's a perfect example. Let's just make him go down. Perfect example, guys. The defensive tackle came through. I tried to pitch it, doinked off his helmet, and now it's a turnover. Let's see, and he just came straight in. He just came straight in, straight off his helmet, you know? That's the risk. I'm glad that happened because you guys can see the risk. Because, oh, that's 2 in a row now. Wow. I just want a huge disclaimer with this play, guys. I don't want anyone to run this play, have a turnover, and blame me. But if you want to have fun, then give speed option a shot. That's what I'll say. And also, by the way, I actually messed around. If you're playing Mutt, if you have, like, say, Lamar Jackson with fast break, because I was messing around with this last week, you can actually hike the ball and then run to the left as well, straight off the snap if you're holding the left stick at the snap. Now, most of you guys are probably not running with Lamar or fast break, but if you are, that's just something to keep in mind. You could try to just hike it and run straight up the middle with the quarterback like this, and with Brady, he's running extremely slow, so it's not a very good thing to do. But if you have a faster quarterback and you've run speed option already and you think the user is going to go out to the outside, hike the ball, just run straight up the middle. And if you need a yard or two and you have a quarterback who's not 0 speed, it can actually work okay for you to get a couple yards by doing that. But Brady's just the slowest person on the planet, so he's going to stick to pitching the ball. But that's speed option for you guys. It's glitchy, it's risky, it's fun. Run it at your own risk, but if you do run it, have a blast with it. That's all I'll say about speed option. So that's enough for the running plays, guys. Let's jump into the passing plays. So before we get into breaking down the passing plays, I want to quickly show you guys the audibles that I like to set each game. And so I always come out in RPO Trap Alert Bubble, which we've already looked at. And because I come out in that play, we don't need to set it as an audible. So we basically get 5 plays to choose from every time we come out. So we have RPO Trap Alert Bubble that we're coming out in, and then we get 4 other plays. I typically like to set 3 passing plays in here and then 1 additional run play. So what I like to do is at X, I like to put the play X under, and then at Y, I like to put the play flood. And then if I don't think I need another running play, I will just leave verticals and PA crossers as it is. If I feel like I need another running play, then I'll sub one of them out. Sometimes I'm feeling like I want to keep verticals. Sometimes I'm feeling like I want to keep PA crossers. It kind of varies from game to game, and when you guys see the breakdowns on those plays, you'll see that each play does certain things a little better than the other one. So for now, let's just replace verticals, and we'll put in halfback counter. If I was down near the goal line, I would put in speed option, because I do like calling speed option down near the goal line, because I'm a gambler, I'm a risk taker. But for the middle of the field, let's go ahead and put in halfback counter. And so these are the audibles that I like to run. But I want you guys to really look at the breakdowns of each passing play. There's a lot of good passing plays in this formation, and you can decide for yourself which audibles you want to have, in this audibles menu. The one thing that is an absolute requirement is you need to have a pass play that has a tight end corner route. So either level sail or X under, they pretty much have to be in there. Also, tight end in is also an excellent option we'll talk about. So I'd potentially maybe replace PA crossers with tight end in as well. That's another one to definitely keep your eye on. But the number one thing, if you go look at these plays, X under and level sail, they both have that tight end corner route. That tight end corner route is really important. So if nothing else on this audibles menu, make sure that you get either level sail or X under on this list. And the rest of it is completely up to you. But that is the number one thing. Get a play with the tight end corner route on this audibles menu. And so that's it for the audibles. Now let's jump into the full breakdown of the passing plays. Now for these passing plays, guys, I have switched over to some modified rosters. If you saw my video on beating Mike Blitz 3, you already know that I have made some custom rosters with the Bucs wide receivers, jacked up to 99 everything on the offensive side of the ball. And then the Chiefs linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks are all jacked up to 99 everything on the defensive side of the ball. And the reason for that is when I make videos using regs teams, sometimes the comments say, oh, this works in regs because the regs cornerbacks or the regs safeties, they're just not as fast. They, in MUT, those players are going to get to the ball, whereas in regs, the defenders will not be able to get to the ball in time, which is why this works in regs, but not MUT. So I wanted to make sure to keep it completely fair that I just max out everything on both sides, because that's just the point that we're getting at this point of the MUT season. I didn't touch things like route running for the cornerbacks and stuff like that, but everything that matters, especially speed and then zone coverage and then man coverage, wherever it is, you can see all these corners, all the safeties, everybody, even the linebackers, have 99 man coverage, 99 zone coverage, 99 speed. And so if this works against the best possible defenders, a lineup full of the best possible defenders, then it'll work in regs. It will work in MUT, where defenders are pretty good, but maybe the safeties are 97, 98 speed. Maybe their zone coverage is in the low to mid 90s. If it works against these guys, it'll work against the guys you're playing online. And so that's one thing I want to show you very quick with regards to the rosters. Just so you know, I'm not taking advantage of any weak regs players to show you guys things that might work in regs and practice mode, but won't work in MUT. And so the first pass play I want to show you guys is my favorite pass play in the formation. It's also the one that we set as our first audible, and that play is going to be X under. There are so many different things you can do with this play. I feel like every route on the field does something really well, and so this is my go-to play. You can see I've called it almost 1,800 times, an average almost 12 yards of play every single time I call it. So X under is my go-to. I would say about 90% of the time I'm running either the Trap Alert Bubble or X under. So we're going to focus on X under right now. And first, on the defense side of the ball, we'll just do random play, and then we'll maybe go into calling some particular formations so I can show you guys some beaters. But to start, let's just go into random formation, and I want to go through the different reads we've got. So on the right side, you guys have probably seen this concept before. It's just a tight end corner with a running back flat route. It's a high-low on the right side. So that tight end corner route is good at getting over the top of a lot of zones that might be playing the medium range on the right side. So anything playing 10 to 15 to 20 yards, that corner route will get over the top of it. You may have to lob it over the top, but it will get over the top. What I like to do is, if you have Hot Route Master or Tight End Apprentice, I like to take this tight end and put him on a Hot Route Master corner route. It's a much sharper cut than the stock corner route. This is a very good man-beating route. I like throwing this corner route more. The other corner route has its place, and you will especially see in a second that if your opponent is running things like mid blitz or Mike Blitz 0 on you, then we will definitely utilize the stock corner route very effectively. But as a default, I prefer to go with this corner route if you have it available. Again, if you have Hot Route Master or Tight End Apprentice. So we have a great high-low on the right side. On the left side, I leave the X receiver on his in route. So if you guys remember from last year, I used to run the play seam all the time, and my read progression is kind of the same on that. I read off the snap. I read B up that little seam route, and then if that's covered, I move over to the high-low on the right side, the tight end up top, the running back down low. And if both those are covered as well, I oftentimes will look back for the in route coming across from the X receiver. And that route combo right there, guys, against zone coverage does really, really well for me a lot of the time. So the wide receiver is not really involved in the play very much. If you want to involve the wide receiver a little bit more, you could always put him on maybe a hitch route or something if you want to have that extra check down. The issue there is by only being on a hitch route, he's not clearing out as much space for that in route to come open underneath. So I kind of like to have him either on his stock corner route or just put him on a streak or something. That will really stretch out that defense and leave that in route wide open. But right here, let's just go ahead and run this play stock. I'm not going to pass the ball, but let's check out the read progressions real quick. And so it looks like we had several things come open. Let's just take the sack and let's go ahead and look at the different things that were coming open. And so first off the line, could we have thrown the seam? I would say no, because this linebacker right here kind of got in the passing lane. You really want to throw that thing instantly. If this linebacker was not there, then yes, that's a wide open throw. But because of that linebacker being there, even though he's not really looking for the ball, we're not going to throw that. So then we're immediately going to look to the right side, and you can see that we've already got both our tight end open if we kind of lob it and maybe lead it to the right and downfield a little bit, or we can take the safe option and hit our running back on the flat route as well. So those are 2 great options. And then we still have our X receiver coming across on the end. So we got 3 different people open on that play. Now, if you wait too long on the end, you can see that the middle linebacker dropped back down to cover the end. So you got to make these reads pretty quick. You got to get used to scanning the field, you know, moving from one read to the next. So I almost think of it like a box. Your 4 reads, you'll kind of make a square, maybe a trapezoid, I guess you could say. But you want to just practice the reads over and over again and get very used to, you know, but just bounce it from one to the next. So we can just run through this a couple times. Another option is to just take your B receiver and just put him on a streak. If you don't like that little seam / post route he's on, you can just put him on a streak right there, and sometimes that comes open off the line. But right here, I really liked what I saw. Let's go out of bounds. I really liked what I saw from the man coverage. Again, that hot route master corner route is a great man beating route, and so I'm going to always be looking for that one if I see man coverage. So right here, again, it splits the zones as well. That's why I love the hot route master corner route so much. You just saw on 2 consecutive plays. On the first play, it beat the man coverage. On the second play, it split those zones perfectly. So you can just, you know, throw that right in there. You know, hopefully you have Gunslinger on your quarterback. So if you're in regs, you're going to need to have Aaron Rodgers or Brady to be fitting it into those really tight windows. If you're playing in Mutt, then if you're not playing with Gunslinger and Mutt, then I don't know what you're doing. You need to have Gunslinger and Mutt. But you know, so you can see that the high-low on that side is really powerful. Now right here, we can just throw it straight down the seam. I possession caught that because that safety did close in pretty quick. But again, you know, that seam route was just a streak, but the seam was just wide open. So I'm just reading that off the snap. Probably could have even thrown it a little bit sooner and had it be a little less risky with that safety coming in. So let's go ahead and keep doing the streak and the hot routed corner route. And again, you can see it's just, it's pretty easy. Now, obviously, in a real game, these might not be as open because this is just the CPU on random play call. But even still, like, if you guys have ever watched me on stream, now right there, I actually did not put the tight end on the hot route master corner route. And you can see that the stock corner route still can actually be a pretty good zone beater. So it's a deeper route with a little bit less, more shallow of a cut. It's not as sharp of a cut. So if you look right here, if it was just the regular corner route from that we were running with Hot Route Master, this defender might actually be in that passing lane. But because it's a much shallower cut and it gets a lot deeper, we're able to fit it right in there on the sideline and possession catch it, and we've got a solid gain. And so that's something to look for. Always be checking what depths are your opponent's defenders dropping to, because you can use the stock corner route, you can use the hot route master corner route, or you can also smart route this corner route and get 3 different depths for your tight end to go to on the sideline. And so I love using that corner route so much. And right here, we have a perfect example. I'm going to possession catch it again. Okay, he dropped it, which was wonderful. But that's actually a perfect example, guys, of what I was actually going to show you against like Mike with 0 or something. If your opponent's in a cover 0 or a cover 1, and you are on 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, whatever it is, and there's about 10 yards, I'd say 8 to 10 yards to the first down line, when you smart route this tight end corner route, the stock corner route, not the hot route master corner route, the stock corner route, it is one of the best man-beating routes in the game, over the top. And this is Tyrann Mathieu, who's got some abilities on him. I forget which abilities, but, you know, maybe, does he have deep route KO? He might have mid-zone KO or something. But this is what happens. If anyone ever runs mid-blitz against you or Mike blitz 0 against you, and you have either a safety or a linebacker, really anybody manned up on your tight end, and there's no safety help over the top, you smart route that stock corner route, they're just going to blow right by the defender. And then you just throw a lob pass, you just lead it downfield, and you usually have touchdowns every time if O.J. Howard catches it. And in fact, let's go ahead, and I want to show you guys that a couple times. So let's go ahead and call X under again, but let's go ahead and put the defense in something like Mike blitz 0 so that you guys can see that it really does work every single time. So you can see right here, we're going to have O.J. Howard at tight end, and I've got him at 97 speed to kind of simulate like a Darren Waller type player. And we're going to smart route that corner route. He's going against Tyrann Mathieu, and he's just going to blow right by him. Now, right there, you saw that Tyrann Mathieu actually played it okay because Tyrann Mathieu was actually lined up really far off the ball. But typically, you know, they're going to be a little bit closer. So I had him press now, which is what most people do if they're running a Mike Blitz 0 or something. And it also looks like Tyrann Mathieu's abilities might be factoring in as well. So you see him lighting up. It's probably maybe that mid-zone KO. So let's just, you know, let's press. I'll even shade over the top as well. But let's go ahead and smart route the corner route. And he just blows right by him. You see that? And as long as something like a, you know, mid-zone KO, deep route KO, as long as one of those things doesn't activate, then you can take it for a huge gain, sometimes even a touchdown, depending on, you know, how well the pass lead goes and if you have enough separation. What some people do is they actually, if they're going against a mid blitz or Mike Blitz 0, they like to move their trips to the short side of the field. So this is probably the only time where I would actually recommend moving the trips to the short side of the field, and that's if you plan on throwing the smart routed tight end corner route. And that's simply because it'll just give him more space to work with. So yeah, you can pass lead to the sideline a lot more rather than having to pass lead it downfield, which might give the defender a little bit more of an opportunity to catch up to it. You can play it very safe and throw it all the way to the sideline, and then there's like no way that defender is catching up to it. Now, on this next one, I am going to try and lead it downfield just to see if we can get the touchdown on it. The other thing is that most safeties in the game that you play against in butt are not going to be 99 speed, 99 awareness, 99 everything like this Tyrann Mathieu has. And so usually, you know, if you guys have ever done this in MUT, you can see it. It's, come on, OJ Howard. That's just Madden for you. I actually had that happen in a weekend league game yesterday to me. And it has nothing to do with anyone's abilities or anything. I think it's just Madden being Madden. But you guys can see even Tyrann Mathieu lit up in the zone. We're blowing right by him. Now I'm going to try and pass it downfield and get a touchdown on it. But again, I'm pressing, I'm shading over top, I'm smart routing that corner route, and let's just try and pass lead it straight down the field this time. And so I think that, you know, you guys can see it's working pretty well. We haven't quite separated enough for a touchdown, but if you guys actually play MUT, do this in a MUT game, that's going for a touchdown. I'd say 90% of the time it's going to go for a touchdown, or at least really close to it. And so Brady is in the zone now, and so let's let Brady get sacked so he can come out of the zone. Otherwise, it'll start just highlighting open receivers for us. But that's the play X under, guys. That's, you know, what I typically do with it. Oh, also, we have some more things to talk about, actually, with X under. This seam/post route from the B receiver, that is actually a good man-beating route as well. So while we're on man-beating routes, let's go ahead and block the tight end, or sorry, yeah, block the running back and put the tight end on a flat route. And I want you guys to watch Scotty Miller on this route. If you throw this at the break, I'm going to press and shade over top. If you throw this at the break, it is actually a man-beating route as well. I like to always aggressive catch it because it's not going to get insane separation, but on man-beating routes, like if I just need a bailout, you know, the pressure's coming in, they got the stuff on the right side covered, I can just throw it to B and trust that he's going to get there. Now I'm going to press and shade underneath this time, okay? So we'll try different shading to show you guys that it can still work. But I definitely recommend the aggressive catch on it. So right there, you know, again, we just get really great leverage. That was pressed, shaded underneath. The first one was pressed, shaded over top. Again, this is a 99 everything cornerback. The only thing that's lacking is one step ahead. And so one step ahead might do a little bit better job shutting it down. But in general, I think this is a pretty good route, pretty underrated route. So that is shaded inside. So let's see how it does against shaded inside. And again, I might have been able to rack that, honestly. I don't know if I even needed to aggressive catch it, but, you know, it's working really well. Okay, so shade underneath, and we'll shade outside just to see if it plays any different, but that should be even more open. But then again, this is Madden, so maybe shading outside will play the inside route better somehow. And for some reason, Sorensen dropped back into zone coverage. Let's run that one back. Let's press and shade outside and underneath. Let's flat route the tight end. Let's try this again. I don't know why Sorensen dropped into coverage before. He's doing it again. But right there, you know, it still got open. So interestingly enough, despite it being an in route, the shading outside actually jammed up the receiver a little bit more. You guys can see that little seam into a post route is actually a really great man-beating route as well. Again, I like to throw it on the break if you wait till after the break to throw it, I feel like the defender typically catches up, which is why most of the time I just want to throw it at the break, aggressive catch it, take your guaranteed yards. Don't try to hit it for a big touchdown because they will catch up on it. But that's a really great route right there. On the left side, this corner route, it looks like it could be pretty good if you smart route it, and it can beat man, but I'm not in love with it. Chris Godwin has slot-o-matic right here, so he might actually torch this guy. I would say if you try it, you'd want to try maybe throw a lob pass. I don't really use that corner route very much, though. Let's smart route again. Let's try a bullet pass this time. So you could do that. If you have someone like with route tech or slot-o-matic or something, you can smart route that corner route and then throw a bullet pass, lead it to the outside, and it'll separate okay, especially with the in route coming in, maybe picking the defender on the wide receiver just a little bit. Again, this is just in pure man coverage. I would not throw this if there's going to be zones over there of any kind. But you can see that smart routing that corner route can work. And then the other thing is if you wanted to, you could put your guy on a hitch if it was zone coverage, and then, you know, just throw that as a last resort. You could also low ball it right here and have it get picked off. That's why I typically don't throw low ball hitches or corners or anything, because I don't know how people make it work so well. I feel like whenever I try a low ball hitch or a low ball curl or something, it gets picked off. So I wouldn't throw that against man, but against zone is where you'd really want to put that hitch in there. But yeah, that's how I typically run this play. Now, if you have Hot Route Master, what I love to do is I love to have my tight end on the Hot Route Master corner route and then my running back on the Texas route right here. And if the user, this is assuming they're in man coverage, if the user goes and covers the corner route, because it is a man-beating route, the AI defender will not guard that route on his own. If the user goes and covers that one, then you can hit the Texas route. The Texas route is one of the best man-beating routes in the entire game. And then if the user wants to stay inside and guard the Texas route, you can usually throw the corner route on the other side. And so I love that route combo right there. You can see that we're just going to absolutely, well, it got tipped at the line. It got tipped at the line, which is wonderful. But you can see the Texas route was coming open. Let's throw it again. The other thing that I am pretty bad at remembering to do is the only thing that is going to guard this Texas route is the defender on the in route from the X receiver. So you really need to change up the X route, like put him on a curl or something, to make sure you don't bring him into the lane where you're trying to hit the Texas route. But let's go ahead and throw the Texas route again. You can see that the Texas route is just going to get wide open. And that's Leonard Fournette is not actually beefed up at all. I didn't put 99 speed on him. That's like some 92 speed, regular, just regs abilities, Leonard Fournette, going against a 99 everything linebacker, and he's still absolutely, or maybe a safety even. And right there, unfortunately, we couldn't get the ball off in time. Let's run this one more time. Again, just watch the Texas route, just completely torch his guy, other than the swat down. But you guys saw it was there. For if it's not getting swatted, I'll just show you on the replay. Tired of these swatted balls. That is a 92 regs Leonard Fournette torching a 99 overall safety. Like he's going to separate from him. He's going to get a lot of yards. So you guys can see this route combo works really well. If you watch me play on YouTube or you watch me play on stream, you'll see me throwing this Texas route all the time. That's a good example right there of what happens if you don't get the X receiver out of the way. So we torched him on the Texas route, but because I never actually bothered moving the in route to something else, the only person who can make a play on it is the guy who was guarding the X receiver. So that's why, you know, put him on a curl, put him on a smoke screen, put him on something, keep him from coming over the middle, and then you've got this great route combo. You're going to get that win. You know, even with the throw out of sack, you know, we got a bunch of yards. And that's, you know, there's a 99 speed guy coming in uncontested. We still got the ball off. So I love that route combo right there. Sometimes if your opponent tries to maybe use or both, like they'll go guard the tight end initially and then come back down and guard the Texas route, what I will do is I will move the Texas route over to the other side and it'll flip. And that way it's a lot tougher for the user to guard both. But in that case, you probably want to change up your B route. I don't know if you want to streak your B or something like that. I know it's ugly looking, and I know that, you know, some of my regular viewers like to give me a bunch of crap for my route combinations, but I'm mainly just reading two routes right here. I'm reading the Texas route, I'm reading the corner route. Not the corner route on the Y, the corner route on the tight end. And that's when I know that's man coverage, and the user is just trying to take one or the other, and you throw to whatever the user can't cover. And so in this case, I'll just hit the tight end. You can see how good that route is as a man-beating route. Just one more time. It's something that I've just, thrown a million times over the years. So even though it looks covered right here, I just know that on the break, that defender's just not going to react in time, and you're going to get a lot of yards on that corner route. The other thing that's really unique about this play in particular is that post route from the B receiver, seam/post route, is an excellent cover 4 palms beater. So let's go ahead and call new play. We're still going to be in X under, but we want the defense to be in cover 4 palms now. And this is something that I just discovered pretty recently. And people aren't running a lot of palms at this very moment, but I feel like the trend is going to be towards more zone and more, especially in MUT, putting more abilities and ability points on the defensive line. And as we see more of that, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing more and more cover 4 quarters, cover 4 palms, things like that. So I did think it's important going forward to show you guys this cover 4 palms beater. And so what we're going to do right here is we are going to flat route the tight end and take our running back and put him on an out route. And this is actually going to glitch out the cover 4 palms coverage just enough for our B receiver to come open. And if you guys already know, cover 4 palms is a man matching coverage. And so it can be very tough to figure out how to take advantage of it if you don't know a beater for it ahead of time. I've struggled many times. I'm going to have a video coming out very soon about cover 4 quarters and how to beat it for 1-play touchdown, because I was running against cover 4 quarters completely stock against someone in Weekend League 2 weeks ago now, and it completely guarded everything on me. I couldn't figure out how to get anything open. And so that's why I definitely want to show you guys this cover 4 palms beater, because I do think it's going to be becoming more popular in the coming months. But this is the setup right here, and just watch our B receiver as he just completely separates from his defender over there, and you just lob it. And that's actually the closest that I've seen him guarded in any of the times trying it. So I want to run a couple more times for you guys. Flat route the tight end, put the running back on an out route, and if we throw it right on the break, right there, you can see that it separates a little bit better. And we got it for a touchdown. Remember, this is against a 99 speed, 99 zone coverage, 99 man coverage, 99 awareness, 99 everything on that safety out there, and we're still beating him over the top. And honestly, when I was testing it earlier, that's kind of what I was getting earlier on my testing, is that like insane separation. I think it has to do with you timing it so that you throw it right on the break of the receiver. But I'll show it one more time. I think this is just an absolutely great cover 4 palms beater. And cover 4 palms, I think cover 4 palms is pretty tough. I do not like going against cover 4 palms or cover 4 quarters. Cover 4 quarters is easier to glitch out, I think, than cover 4 palms is. But that's the cover 4 palms beater for you guys. And that's the play X under. I mean, besides that, we'll go over a cover 2 beater, I guess. But that doesn't have to be in this play. It could be really any of the plays in this entire playbook. Sorry, this entire formation. And that's because the spacing of the trips makes it really easy for us to attack cover 2 at its weakest point, which is the deep middle and the deep sideline. So let's right now go into, we'll stay in nickel 3-3-5 wide, I guess, but we'll go with cover 2 sink. And so cover 2 sink is unique in that the blues are going to be soft squats. The light blues are soft squats, so they're going to man match on deep routes until they're brought back down by an underneath route. And so the setup I like to do, if someone's just running cover 2 completely stock, is literally all you have to do is put your inside receiver on a streak, take your middle receiver and put him, say, on like an out route or a flat route or something, take your outside receiver and put him on a fade. And so on the left side, we've got a very simple setup, fade out streak, and the safety cannot cover both the fade and the streak. So oftentimes what we're going to get is we're going to get this route over the middle, and I just pass lead that inside, and it goes for a touchdown. And oftentimes people will put a deep blue in the middle, but not always. I mean, I was playing against K-Mac a week ago, and he wasn't putting a deep blue in the middle, and I hit him multiple times, just on a streak route from from the seam because he was playing cover 2. Just bullet pass lead it inside, and you know, unfortunately we didn't hold on to it right there. But you guys can see how open it is. You know, we'll run it one more time. Did I get my out route off? Yep. And so just pass lead it inside, and you know, right there I'm just racking it, and you're gonna take it pretty far, or maybe even for a touchdown. Now, in terms of attacking the sideline, that's a little bit tougher, but we can still give it a shot. In regs, this works. In MUT, this is a little tougher. But if we throw a bullet pass to the sideline, so it actually worked right there as well. You have to be careful. You have to be watching the safety. And what people will often do on defense is they will take this guy and actually put him in a deep middle, and they'll scoot this guy over. And so if they're doing that, you have to, you know, attack the cover 2 in other ways. You can't be trying to bomb it, because then you can see, you know, we can try throwing to the sideline, but you know, we maybe had a tight window, but it was pretty close. And so if they're doing that, it's not even really a cover 2 anymore. It's basically just a cover 3. And if that's the case, then you really don't want to be trying cover 2 bombs on it. But you know, I would definitely just recommend use some hitches or some curls, and just attack it at its weak point. You know, now right there I brought an in route straight into my curl route because I'm an idiot, but that's okay. So let's just try it one more time. I think 2 routes I would really focus on are the curl route right there, and then our stock tight end corner route on the right side. And so that's kind of what I was trying to throw before I forgot that I had the in route coming in. So against cover 2, when they're doing that, I would throw the curl, and then I would also look at this route right here. And if you see it looks like, you know, they moved once we threw it, but again, because it's a soft squat, he's gonna be brought back down by the running back in the flat, and we should be able to hit the tight end on the corner route to the outside. So let's just not worry about what's happening on the left side. Let's focus on the right side now. And I'm pretty sure that if we throw it over the top well enough, it's a little bit of a tight window. It's a tight window, but we can fit that corner route in there. And if that's too risky for you, then just throw the flat route and take your 4 yards, whatever you want. But you guys can see that, you know, there's a lot of ways to beat a lot of different coverages with this player here. This play X under, it's so good. It's got a lot of versatility, and I feel like a lot of it comes from the corner route from the tight end. And especially if you're in regs, having the flat route is actually really nice as well, because you cannot, in regs, you can't hot route to the flat route. You can hot route to a wheel, and wheel's okay as well, but I definitely prefer the flat route. I think the flat route just does a better job of getting more reliable yards. But yeah, that's X under. So we've kind of talked about a cover 4 palms beater. We've talked about beating cover 2. Another one, actually, we'll wait on a cover 4 beater. But with Hot Route Master, you can make these beaters work out of almost any play. But I want this to work for both regs players and MUT players. So that is X under. Hopefully it makes sense to you guys how great this play can be if you know how to manipulate it, if you know how to make the user always have to choose one route or the other, and always have another read progression to go to, and always find somebody open. Hopefully it makes sense, but that was X under. Let's jump ahead to the next pass play. All right, guys, so the second pass play I want to show you is a play that's bailed me out in many tough situations in the past, and that play is going to be flood. And on defense, let's go ahead and call random play, even though this is typically something that I want to call in man coverage situations. And what makes flood so unique is the left side of the play. We've got this really long flat route, and we've got this really deep out route. Now, you can't hot route to either of these routes. The out route, if you did a regular out route, it would be, what, 5 yards deep? And even if you smart routed it, it would be pretty close to the depth of flood. But flood just gets a little bit deeper. Like the stock play gets a little deeper than anything you can do with smart routing, unless you were exactly like 13 yards from the first down line. And you can't really hot route this flat route either, because the receiver would not get all the way to the sideline. He would stop his route, and then any defender on him in a zone would probably drop back and cover our out route. And so you really want to leave this play stock on the left side. On the right side, however, I would do whatever you want with it, but neither of these routes on the right side are very good. The tight end is not going to beat his man on that route, and I feel like swing routes this year just run straight into the sideline. And so if you have Hot Route Master, I like just go ahead and put our usual high-low on the right side. If you don't, then I don't know, maybe you just want to put your running back on a curl, streak your tight end, just block somebody, Do whatever you want on the right side, but you don't want to mess around with the routes on the left side, in my opinion. It's a really great route combo on the left side. And so the wide receiver on the out route is the money route. And I had Chris Godwin in there before, but Chris Godwin has Slot-O-Matic, which is basically like route tech from the slot. And I want you guys to see that you don't need abilities for this route to be really, really great against man coverage. Now, it looks like we're probably going against zone coverage right here, but in this case, you can see that we actually split those zones anyway. I did pass lead it upfield just a little bit, but these route combos are so good at just stretching these zones out. You got the flat route, who's going to drag this defender down underneath. And then you've obviously got the fade from Evans, bringing that defender deep with him. And unless this defender gets way outside to guard that out route, it's wide open. And again, I pass lead it up the field just a little bit, just to make sure this defender doesn't somehow jump 10 feet in the air and pick it off. I'm more worried about him than the defender over the top. But let's just block both the tight end and the running back. But this combo on the left side, and it's just typical Flood. It's nothing crazy. You guys have probably seen Flood before, but look right there how great that was beating man coverage. Now I'm going to go ahead and we'll run it one more time. Looks like we're going to get another really great separation from the zones. And let's go ahead and do some random man coverage because, like I said, I've mainly run it against man. Clearly, you can run it against zone as well, but against zone, I like other route combos as well. Let's go and do man coverage. Let's go ahead and press the man coverage as well and see how we do. Let's block everything on the right side, and now you can see it's going to be a little bit tighter, but we still make. Oh, we got hit, but it was going to be a little bit tighter of a window, but we are still going to separate on that out route. How did we get hit blocking 7? That's interesting. So let's go ahead and try this again. And right there, it's a tight window. It's a tight window, but it works. And so I love throwing this in there, especially because, if you're running X under over and over again, the user is focusing on the tight end of the running back. They're maybe throwing extra zones on the right side, trying to account for both of those routes. Then all of a sudden, you completely flip the field and you go over to the left side, and they're just like, well, damn, now I got to worry about the other side as well. And so I love mixing Flood in there occasionally. Not all the time, but occasionally, especially if they're going to sit in man coverage. If you guys saw the game that I played against Skimbo, I had Flood completely bail me out on a key third down for that game. On a drive where I really needed to score, I ended up using Flood to convert a third down and keep that drive moving. So this is the last time I'll run it. But you guys can see that was even against Tyrann Mathieu. Does he have mid-zone KO? He has some ability. You saw him light up for a sec, but our Antonio Brown with no abilities was beating him on that route anyway. I don't run too many other plays in terms of the passing game, but I also am very reliant on hot routes. I make a ton of hot routes on every single play. So what's great about this is that you don't need a single hot route for this. All we've been doing is just blocking the tight end and the running back, and the left side is completely stock. But that is Flood. Let's jump ahead to the next pass play. All right, guys, so the next pass play I want to show you guys is one that I slept on until pretty recently, and it's not going to be so great against man coverage, but it is pretty solid against zone coverage, and that play is going to be verticals. So because it's only good against zone, really, we're going to go ahead and just call random zone coverage so I can show you guys the play art. It's got a couple of unique routes that you cannot hot route to. So the tight end is on the shallow crosser right here. It's more shallow than a regular crosser, but deeper than a drag, and it makes that a really good check down route if the rest of your routes don't come open. And then at B, we've got this really deep crossing route, which is deeper than a normal crossing route. So I'll show you, this is a normal crossing route. See, it's going about, between the 3 and the 0 of the 30 number on the 30-yard line. But this route is going basically over the 0. It's a couple yards deeper. It's going to get over 20 and 25-yard depth drops from any zones on that side of the field. So that is a really, really great route right there. And then our middle receiver at Y is on the seam route. And there are some times where that seam route can just split right in between the zones. It's not something that I would recommend throwing all the time, but in a desperate situation, if you need a huge gain and your opponent is running all zone, I would definitely consider, maybe throwing a prayer at that seam route. I actually say that because I played against K-Mac. You guys know the pro player K-Mac. I played against him in a MUT head-to-head seasons game a little over a week ago. I found myself in a 4th and 20. He was playing all zone, and I actually was able to hit that seam route and pick up the first down. Just barely held on to it. The window was super tight, but that seam route is there if you need like a bailout route against zone coverage. I'm not going to recommend throwing it all the time, but keep that in mind. Now with the running back right here, I do not like swing routes at all. Swing routes to me are pretty worthless. If you have Hot Route Master, I would go ahead and put him on a flat route. If you don't, I'd put him either on an out route or on a wheel route or something that's actually usable, because a swing route, you're just going to throw it to him and he'll go straight out of bounds immediately. But right here, let's just go ahead and look at how the routes develop. It looks like we're going to have that crosser route right there. I'm just going to possession catch it, and that's probably the best route on this play. That and the tight end on that shallow crosser. Let's see if that one came open. And yeah, right there, we could have checked down to the shallow crosser as well. Maybe the opponent, might have usered that, but you guys can see that that is a route that's going to usually come open. The seam route was not really coming open. We'd have to throw over the linebacker, who would probably make a play on it. So those are the two routes. If you run this play stock, you're going to want to look for the deep crosser and the shallow crosser. The deep crosser from the inside receiver, the shallow crosser from the tight end. Now, what's interesting about this play is there's actually a really good cover 4 quarters beater out of it. And if you guys saw the video I did for Huddle GG, you may already know this one, but we're going to watch it again because it's a really, really good cover 4 quarters beater. So we're going to do verticals, and let's go into, we could do this out of nickel 245, or we don't have nickel 245 in this playbook, I guess, for the Chiefs, but we could do it out of big nickel over G as well. So cover 4 quarters, it's behind my face cam, but trust me, we're calling cover 4 quarters. I'll show you the play art, so you trust me. But the reason that I want to focus on a cover 4 quarters beater, and again, I mentioned it in the Huddle GG video, is that I went against an opponent in Weekend League a couple weeks ago who sat in stock cover 4 quarters the entire game, and I could not figure out how to beat it. Everything was bagged, stock cover 4 quarters. And if I went to bunch, I know that there's a cover 4 quarters beater out of bunch. I made a video on that. But when I went into bunch, he was deep having his safety on the bunch side because he knows that there's a cover 4 quarters beater out of bunch. But out of trips, he was not doing any deep having. He was just running it stock and completely bagging me. So I had to come up with a way to beat cover 4 quarters. And this isn't the prettiest route combo. There's really 2 route combos I'm going to show you guys. This first one might be a little better than the second one, but it will work against cover 4 quarters, as ugly as it might be. So the setup for the first one is going to be to streak our tight end, and then take our wide receiver and put him on a drag, and then motion out our running back and also put him on a drag. And so right here, what's going to happen is the B receiver is going to get completely open on the deep right side. So let's go ahead and watch. And basically, everyone is just going to go with the tight end. There's going to be 2 defenders on the tight end, and nobody is going to cover the B receiver, and it's just wide open. If you want, you can try and pass lead it downfield and maybe even get a touchdown on it. But, the safe thing is probably just to try and, throw it to the sideline. But this time I will try to lead it downfield a little more. And right there, it looks like the defender on the tight end stayed on the tight end. He did not break off his route. And so there you go. You got a 1-play touchdown out of that. The other 1-play touchdown is, the same play, but it's going to be all hot routes at this point. But we are going to take our X receiver and put him on a slant. We're going to take our Y receiver and put him on a drag. We're going to take our B receiver and put him on a fade. Sorry, not a streak, a fade. It's got to be a fade. We're going to take our A receiver and put him on a streak. Sorry, a tight end at A and put him on a streak. And again, motion our running back out and put him on a drag. And watch our B receiver. He is going to get completely open. You're just going to have to throw a lob pass and pass lead to the outside. And I probably threw it a tad too soon. I let that cornerback almost make a play on it. So let's do it one more time, the exact same setup. And I'm just going to wait a tad longer this time. And I'm not going to give the cornerback any chance to get over and make that play. So just wait a tad longer and then launch it. And we've got an easy touchdown. So there's your cover 4 quarters beater. And actually, one other thing I want to show you guys is if you saw my most recent YouTube video before this one, it was actually how to bomb Mike Blitz 3 for 1-play touchdowns. And if you saw the video, it was actually out of this play verticals that we're looking at right now. And so if you didn't see that video, I'm going to go over that setup once again. This can work as a universal cover 3 beater, but it doesn't work great against match coverage if their zone drop depths are set to default. Now, most people do not play with their depths on default. A lot of people are setting curl flats to 5 and blue flats to 25, or flipped, depending on if they want their purples deep or their light blues deep. But if it's set to default, then you will get some more man matching on those match coverages, and the beater just does not work. But against a regular cover 3, I'd say it works as a universal cover 3 beater. It just does not work against match coverage. For today's video, I'm just going to show you how it's a Mike Blitz 3 beater, because I still feel like Mike Blitz 3 is probably the most common cover 3 shell that we're seeing online. And so that's why I'm just going to focus on Mike Blitz 3. But the setup is to take your X receiver and put him on a comeback route, and then take your tight end and put him on a streak, and then block your running back. And then you're going to take your B receiver and you're going to motion him over. You're going to snap it right after he passes the tight end. And we're going to watch our Y receiver, and he's going to get completely open because that cornerback on the left side, he's going to get brought back down by the comeback route. And so I'll run it one more time for you guys so that you can see that it is repeatable. So there's the setup. Take your B receiver. Oh, nope, that is the wrong receiver. Let's hike it and just see what happens. This is some experimentation, right? Do we hit that? There we go. Nice catch by Sky Miller. That was not the intent though, guys. So bear with me while we do the setup one more time. Take our B receiver, motion him over, snap it right after he passes the tight end, and then watch our Y receiver, and he is going to come completely open. We even got hit, but Brady has fearless, and we were able to get it in there. So real quick, I'll show you guys on the replay how that cornerback on the outside comes down. It's same as in the video I showed you guys, my previous video. But the cornerback's dropping. And I think because it's a seam route from our middle receiver, he assumes that the safety is going to take over responsibility for that seam route. And so he passes off responsibility. He comes back down and guards the cornerback, the comeback route. He guards the comeback route and leaves him for just a second. And as long as he passes it to the outside, the safety cannot get back in time because the safety is occupied by the tight end on the streak on the other side. And so you throw that to the outside, and it's a tight window, but these are also, again, defensive backs with 99 speed, 99 zone coverage. And so if it works in these conditions, it will work in any conditions. So that is the Mike Blitz 3 setup out of verticals. I'd say that's everything I got for this play. Let's jump ahead to the next pass play. All right, guys, so the next pass play I want to show you guys is a really good one, and honestly one that I should be using more often, and that play is PA crossers there at the bottom there. And let's just go ahead and call random play on defense. So the best route on this play is the crossing route from the inside receiver. It is one of the best man-beating routes in the entire game, and it looks very similar to a Hot Route Master crosser, but it is slightly different, and it beats man so much better than the Hot Route Master crosser. So I definitely recommend leaving that route on the field whenever possible. Now, there are a lot of different things you can do with this play. One setup is to run it kind of like a poor man's PA boot over out of gun bunch tight end. And so you'd put your tight end on a delay fade. You would take your X receiver and put him on a drag, or you could probably put your wide receiver on a drag as well, but I'm going to do the X receiver. Then you've got your play action. Then you're going to roll out. And you can hit your B receiver on the sideline. Just possession catch it. And Sky Miller didn't catch it for some reason. So that's interesting. But you guys saw it was open. Let's go ahead and run it again. Right there, we've got a wide open receiver for a touchdown. You guys saw right there, that was man coverage. The crossing route absolutely annihilated the man coverage. So let's keep doing that a couple times, and then we'll look at some more setups. But the tight end delay fade, X receiver on the drag. Let's roll out. And right here, let's actually release the tight end for the tight end delay fade. And I don't use tight end delay fades very often. It's something I need to get better at doing because tight end delay fades are really glitchy. Right here, it's like 3-man deep, so this doesn't even really count. But you can see B is coming open again. Well, there's something glitchy going on because I've never had that happen before, guys. But let's try to hit our B receiver for a completion, actually. And right there, the pressure just came in. They were just screaming at us. But that's okay. Let's run it one more time, and then we'll do another setup. But, you know, again, tie and delay fade, X receiver on the crosser, and just look at how open that is against man coverage. If there's no zone help over there, it's just goodbye for that setup. And so that is one option. And I would always base everything around the crosser. You always want to be utilizing that crosser because it's so good. But another setup you could do if you don't want to, you know, just run a PA boot over, is you could put the tight end on a streak, maybe to, you know, try to clear out any zones that might be guarding the crossing route. And then if you want, you know, a double high-low on both sides, is maybe take the running back on a flat route. So now you've got a really high and low route combination on the right side. Then maybe just smoke screen your X receiver, take your Y receiver on a slant, and then motion over to the other side. And now, especially against zone, the way these are set up, these are going to really separate those zones extremely well. And, you know, right there, you know, or against man coverage as well. The motion slant is probably the single best way to beat man coverage for short yards in the game. And so that's another really good setup. Let's run that one more time. But there's so much you can do with this play, and it all depends, or all revolves around that crossing route, I guess. So this time I'm going to look at the crosser route again, and if you guys saw right there, that was just so beautiful how the tight end basically opened everything up by bringing that safety back. Let's go and look at the replay right there. The tight end on the streak just pushes that safety back, just pushes, and then everyone else, you know, this defender right here, he's kind of occupied by the running back in the flat, and it just opens up everything for the crossing route right here. Now, if the user was maybe, you know, let's say this was the user and he was guarding this, well, on the other side, I mean, you've got the slant, which is kind of covered, but then look at your check down. Look at your check down to the smoke screen. You throw that, he is easily going to pick up 5, 6, 7 yards on that play. And so, you know, I think this is an excellent setup against man. It's an excellent setup against zone. And, you know, it's just a great play all around. Now, there's one other setup I want to show you guys. And this one, if you have High Route Master, you can do this from any of the plays in this formation. But the reason I'm showing it to you right now is that we have a very deep post route from the left side. And so if you're playing regs or you don't have High Route Master, then the play you're going to want to call for this is PA crossers, but it's going to be a cover 4 drop bomb. Now, if you guys have watched any of my cover 4 beater videos in the past, I know you've seen this setup before, but this really does bomb any cover 4 drop. Not quarters and palms, but cover 4 drops. So we could do it out of dollar 326. We could do it out of nickel 335. Let's do 335. I feel like I see that one more often lately than the dollar one. I'm not really seeing dollar anymore lately, but nickel 335. And so we're going to do a whole lot of hot routes right here. But on the left side, we're going to smart route the X receiver on his deep post. And it's going to make it a lot shallower. And you ideally want to do this when you're about 10 yards away from the first down line. I'd say 8 to 10 yards typically from the first down line. We're going to streak our Y receiver, and then we're going to take our A receiver and put him on a curl. We're going to block our running back, and then we're going to motion over our B receiver and put him on a comeback route. Now, again, you could run this out of any play in the formation if you have High Route Master. If you don't have High Route Master, you got to do it out of PA crossers for that deep post route from the left side. But what's going to happen right here, guys, is let's go ahead and hike it. The deep safety on the right side is just going to completely dummy out. If you just pass lead it, to the right, it's a free touchdown. Now, you got to be careful, and I would definitely recommend practicing this a couple times in practice mode, because your natural instinct, when you see the receiver coming open right here, you're probably naturally going to want to lead it up and to the right. And when you lead it up and to the right, it lets this safety make a play on it. You got to pass lead it hard to the right. You see how when we threw the ball, see how Evans adjusted hard to the right? You got to pass lead it hard to the right. And now, you may be worried about this corner getting back to it or this defender getting back to it. You got to trust me. The only defender who can really mess this thing up is going to be this safety over here. So you got to pass lead it hard to the right. So let's go ahead and run it one more time. Let's smart route the X receiver. Let's streak the Y receiver, put the tight end on a curl, block the running back, take B over, put him on that comeback route. And again, we'll let him get set. You can probably do it when he's in motion, but we'll let him get set. Again, it just dummies out that safety on the right side. Pass lead it hard to the right, and you can just rack it if you want, or possession catch it wherever you want. I probably could have waited a little longer as well. And it feels a little risky doing it right here. In regs, it is so insanely open. It is the easiest pass you'll ever make in regs. In MUT, when everyone's a little faster, the throw is a little tighter, of course. But again, these are 99 speed defenders with 99 zone coverage. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If it works in these conditions, it's going to work in any conditions. So that's the cover 4 drop beater. And that's probably about it for this play. It's tough because those 2 routes on the left side are difficult to do a whole lot with. They're very deep post routes. And other than for the cover 4 drop beater, I don't have a whole lot of ways to utilize them really well. You may be able to come up with some really creative setups out of this play on your own, but the number one thing is just look for this crosser route from the B receiver. That crosser route, 9 times out of 10, it is going to, even with a defender in the area, it's just such good spacing. And then especially combine that with a tight end on the streak, and he's going to clear out so much space. You can just throw it to the sideline. That is the money route of this play 100%, is that crossing route. But anyway, guys, that's PA crossers. Let's go ahead and look at the next passing play. All right, guys, so the final play I want to show you is another really good one that I honestly do not run enough. The play is tight end in, and it's very good against zone. Maybe not for one-play touchdowns, but for moving the ball for reliable yards. So let's go ahead and call tight end in, and let's go ahead and just call random zone coverage. And here is the play art. And what makes it so unique is this wheel route from the running back. And so it's more to the inside than your stock wheel route, which is all the way to the sideline. But then it's more to the outside than a streak, which is more towards the middle. And so this really unique spacing of this wheel route is what makes this play so good. So the setup I do against zone, now again, it's not really good against man, but against zone, if your opponent's just sitting in zone all game and you really are struggling to move the ball, I would go ahead and put your tight end on a flat route, and then take your B receiver and put him either on a curl, there we go, a curl, or maybe like a smart routed in route right there. And then I would also take your wide receiver and put him on a flat route as well. It does not feel like that seam route he's on gets very open, so I usually don't bother with the seam route. It's better to have him down there, create another high-low on the left side. But we're going to focus on the right side because I really like this combo of the tight end on the flat and the running back on this wheel. And what happens, if you guys see right there, I'm just going to possession catch it. The tight end on the flat just pulls those defenders out of the way and makes this nice little pocket for you to throw to that wheel. Just pass lead to the inside. Just go ahead and possession catch it in this case, and it's wide open. Now, if the opponent you're playing is using this guy right here, and he goes and uses that wheel route, well then guess what? Your in route from the B receiver would be wide open. He's got to pick one or the other. So that's a really great setup. Now right here in a 3-man deep, let's just run the play stock and just throw something. There's no point in showing you against quarters coverage. But let's go back to that same setup again. We're going to flat route the tight end. We're going to take our B receiver and put him on a smart routed in. Let's put our wide receiver on a flat. And again, let's watch the setup on the right side. Now this time, it looks like, let's just check it down. Let's just check it down. I thought about trying to see if the running back was going to come open, but the defense kept dropping. And there's nothing wrong with checking down for a 7-yard gain, They kept dropping back with the running back. Let's go to the tight end. 7-yard gain. Nothing wrong with that. Always be willing to take your checkdowns, guys. Let's do that same setup. Again, it's just random zone coverage. Same setup right here. Again, we got that great pocket, cleared up by the tight end. And that time we racked it. We got a couple extra yards. I'm going to run through this a couple more times because there are situations where the defense will stay down low on the tight end. You can actually get even bigger gains to the running back. But right there, let's hit the out route that time. I'm really hoping I can get one where the running back is open along the sidelines. But if you guys can see, this route combo can work really, really well against zone coverage. Right here, oh, they're not going to give it to me. We'll check down again. We'll try it one more time. But I hope you guys can at least see that this is a really nice setup against zone coverage, as long as you're willing to take your checkdowns. Don't do anything crazy. Don't try to force the wheel route to the running back, but be willing to take your checkdowns. One more time. Okay, one more time. I'm tired of checking down, but I'm trying to do the smart thing and take what's open, guys. But one last time, and then we'll just give up on it. You guys will have to just take my word for it. Let's see what they give us from the running back. And right there, you know what? Let's force it. Let's force it. I threw it a little bit late. Hopefully you guys saw it. There was a little window. And what will happen sometimes is that the defenders will actually stay down even lower on the tight end. So like right here, he kept dropping. Again, we had our check down again, but there will be situations where this defender stays low on the tight end, and then this route to the sideline is just wide open. Now, I waited forever to see if it was going to come open, and it never really came open. Maybe you could try having this in route be a little bit more shallow, I guess, and maybe that will pull them down as well. So let's put him on an in route, not smart route. It's going to be a lot shorter, but maybe that'll pull them down a little bit better. And right there, it's a tight window, but we were able to possession catch it and make the play. So don't force it. Don't force it. I would stick with the smart routed in route. Don't force it, but take what the defense gives you. And right there, Fournette did not want to catch the ball, but it was open. You guys saw it was open. Take what the defense gives you. Be willing to take your checkdowns, and this will be an excellent zone beating play for you guys. We finally got it. That's what I want to show you guys right there. We finally got it. I'm glad I stuck it out. That's what I want to show you guys, where sometimes the defense will stay down low. If you just watch the running back all the way through, they stay low, and then you throw it up here. Now you've got a solid 20+ yard gain. So that is tight end in. That's the one setup. I don't have a ton of setups out of it. You guys might have some more creative setups out of this play, but for me, and obviously with Hot Route Master, you can drop almost anything you want. The sky is the limit if you got Hot Route Master. But the number one thing on this play is the running back wheel route. And when you combine it with this flat route from the tight end, and again, I prefer this smart routed in route from the inside receiver. That is just such a great combo right there. Maybe you could put the B receiver on like a post route or something. That could probably work too. Gonna have a similar effect. We'll hit the B receiver right there. Well, we just missed. I like that setup though. Maybe we'll try that in the game or something. But that is tight end in, guys. And that is all the passing plays that I run consistently or somewhat consistently. But let's go ahead and jump back into the playbook, and we'll talk about a couple of the other plays that I didn't show you guys any breakdowns for. All right, guys, so there are some plays that we didn't look at in Gun Trip's tight end offset, and that's because I just don't think they're very good. Now, level sail, you may prefer level sail over X under. It does have a deep in route from that middle receiver, but for me, having the deep in route was just not very good because I've already got the medium depth in route from the outside wide receiver, and I prefer having X under where we have that nice little post route / seam route from the inside receiver. And so if you want to run level sail, you can. It's got the same tight end corner route that can be really glitchy against man coverage. And so if you prefer level sail, go ahead and run level sail. Personally, I feel like X under gets you the same high low that you need on the right side, plus a better route from the inside receiver. And you don't have, again, that middle receiver in route to me was just very awkward. I try throwing it and I would just throw picks over the middle. So for me, level sail was just not the answer. Other plays that we didn't look at, so halfback screen, it's just a halfback screen. I feel like this year's screens are not very good. If you enjoy running screens, go ahead and run it. I feel like it's nothing special. It's just your typical screen. I have gone away from running screens this year because it seems like everybody is using the running back, or at least if they're in man coverage, they are using the person with man assignments on the running back. And so if it's a screen, they're usually just screaming in there and blowing it up. And I very quickly this year was like, I'm just not running any screens. It doesn't really feel like it's working very well. Situationally, absolutely throw the screen in there, but it's not good enough to be worth doing a whole breakdown on. What else do we got? We got the play Scat. Honestly, terrible play. Don't ever run Scat. It's one of the few plays in this playbook where there's actually a tell as well that you're running this play, because your receivers will come out more bunched together than in all the other plays. And I guess I'll just say real quick that that's one thing I really like about this playbook, is that for the most part, all the plays that I run, they have the exact same spacing. Whereas if you run in Guntrip's tight end also has an RPO Alert Bubble. They don't have the RPO Trap Alert Bubble, but they do have an RPO Alert Bubble. The issue in Trip's tight end is that when you run the RPO Alert Bubble, your wide receivers are more bunched together than in any of the passing plays. And so if your opponent has a keen eye, and if you're trying to run with your trips to the wide side of the field, like I think you should every play, then your opponent will see, oh, he's running the RPO, and then they can adjust accordingly. And so I love that there are no tells in this playbook, or in this formation, with any of the plays that matter at least. There's no tells about what play you are running. They all look exactly the same pre-snap. But scat is one of those few exceptions, and it's just not a good play. It's like it's got a bubble screen, but no blocking on it. It's got a couple little hitch routes or something. So scat is like one of the worst plays in the game. I would never ever run scat. We've also got curl combo, which is a play that I really wanted to like because it's got some unique curl routes and some hitch routes. I wanted to like it as a zone beater, but when I tried it in practice mode against random zone coverage, it felt like nothing got open. It felt like if the zones were in the right spots, and especially if there was a user there, it was like curl combo is just not the answer. So great in theory to put a bunch of different curl routes and a flat route on the field to try and spread out the defense. It was just not the answer. Maybe if you're in like a 4th and 1 and you're like, I just need to get 1 yard, I just want to throw a quick curl route to somebody, I don't need to worry about stretching the field, maybe try curl combo, try it out for yourself, and if you like it, go for it. But I'm not really a huge fan of curl combo. Just doesn't do it for me. I don't think it's worth running. But that covers all the plays in Guntrip's tight end offset in the Houston Texans playbook. If you run this formation in some other playbooks, you may see a couple plays like the Buck Sweep Alert Bubble, whatever it's called. I mentioned that one before. There's also some playbooks that have a regular inside zone. I don't think you need either of those. Like I said, for the RPO Buck Sweep Alert, whatever it's called, we have the halfback counter, which I think does just as good of a job. And then for the inside zone, I think we've got the read option, which does just as good, if not better of a job, because you actually get to leave a blocker unblocked on the right side, in this case, as you run it to the left. And so I don't think you're missing out on anything running this playbook. Not every playbook with this formation has tight end in. I would say all the other plays, all the other passing plays should be in every playbook that has this formation. But remember, guys, this is the only playbook that has speed option, which, as risky as it is, it's also a ton of fun. And so if you want to just have fun running speed option, you got to run Houston Texans playbook. And that's part of the reason why I chose the Texans playbook to make this free ebook out of. But anyway, guys, that is it for the free ebook. I thought about adding in some gameplay as well, but I think this video is already long enough, and I have a lot of gameplay already on my YouTube channel, and I'll be putting up more gameplay videos in the near future. So definitely check those out if you want to see this offense in action, or come stop by the Twitch stream sometime over at twitch.tv/BruceGooseTV. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So come stop by, come say hi, and you will see me running this exact offense out of the Houston Texans playbook. So come see it in action, see how it works, and let me know what you guys think. But as always, guys, if you ended up enjoying this video, or if this video helped you win any games at all, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. It's completely free, and it's the best way to let me know that you guys are enjoying these videos and want to see more like them in the future. Now, just a reminder that even though this ebook is completely free, if you want access to the cheat sheet, if you want to have the information at a quick glance instead of having to go through the video for everything, definitely consider subscribing to me over on Twitch, because that will get you access to the subscriber tips section of my Discord server, which is where the cheat sheet will be located. But anyway, guys, if you stuck it out to the end, I really do appreciate you. I know this was a long video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. But with that, guys, I hope you have a great one. Thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.